Hey everyone, it's Rachel from Sugar Maple Farmhouse, and today we're going to make roasted urban orange chicken thighs. My roasted urban orange chicken thighs are a beautiful meal for when citrus is in season. Really, you can make this year round, but I like to make it when citrus is in season. I first made it and put it up on the website in early winter. It's midwinter now here in Michigan, so I wanted to make it again for you because I just love this meal. It is sophisticated enough that you can make it for a dinner party or you can make it for a Sunday meal. And I think you could even make it after work if you really love to cook and you really want something that's a little more elevated. So let's get started. I'll show you how to make it. Before we do, click that subscribe button and follow along. I would love to have you here as I cook, DIY, craft, and garden. All right, so like I said, this is so easy. The oven is gonna do most of the work for you. The things you need to do to prep for it include taking your chicken out of the package. If you want to rinse it, wash it, do that, but then pat it off. You wanna make sure that your chicken's been sitting maybe for a half an hour before you start so you can get the skin a little drier. Then you also wanna move your oven rack to the top or just under the top. I have 5 spaces in my oven and I put my rack on the second from the top. If you have 3 spaces in your oven, you can move it to the top. I've got some specific instructions for you on the website about just watching the skin and checking on the chicken throughout the cooking process. Other than that, it's really, really simple. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to add sliced oranges in here to the pan. So this is what my oranges look like in the pan. There is about 2 sliced navel oranges in here. The next thing I'm going to add in is some fresh rosemary. So these are pretty big. And then a lot of fresh thyme. So this is about 5 ounces of fresh thyme that is going directly in the pan on top of the oranges. And here is how that looks. So you can see we're just kind of layering everything in there. The next thing I'm adding in are shallots. So I have 2 shallots here. I've quartered them. They're just going kind of I'm tucking them in on the inside of the pan. On the website, I have 1 to 2 shallots. I did use 2. One was really large, so it looks a little more like 3, but if you like shallots, that's not a problem. Then we are going to add garlic. So you can slice it or you can crush it. I have crushed it today, and I'm just going to pop that in there now with everything else on the side of the pan. If you do not know how to crush garlic, I have one here. So I usually cut my ends off first. Some people don't. Take the garlic, put it on its side, and then just press on the knife. And number 1, the wrapper on the garlic kind of comes off, and then you get a nice crushed piece of garlic here for your pan. Okay, now into the pan, we are going to add some chicken stock. And this is 3/4 of a cup. It's going right on top of everything in the pan. Then we are going to add in some white wine. Next, I'm going to add in some champagne vinegar. And that just gets poured over everything too. And then finally, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of fresh squeezed orange juice, not from a orange juice drink that you would buy to drink, but from an actual orange that you want to squeeze out. Okay, now that all this is in there, let's get our chicken ready. So the chicken, let's move everything over a little bit. I have 5 bone-in chicken thighs here. You can use 6 if you can fit them in your pan. The first time I made this, I did go with 6, so it's kind of nice if you're having people over for dinner, you can make it all in one pan. You can also, if you have a bigger pan, you can make more. I would probably increase the amounts of the liquids in the pan at that point and either double them, or I wouldn't triple them, I would double them. But here's our chicken. It is dry. I'm going to add some herbs to the top of it now. So in here, I have some salt, I have dried oregano, dried thyme, and then I have some orange zest too. So I'm going to take that and just kind of make sure my orange zest is in here. Obviously that was a little wet. There, now it's better incorporated. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to rub it onto my chicken. So just rub it on top there. Again, if you're doubling this recipe, make sure to double this part too, because you want to have enough that it will spread over your chicken. Okay, then these are going to go right on top of everything in our pan. And then I also like to take everything that was on the plate and put it into the pan as well. That way you're not missing out on any of this flavor. Now I'm gonna go wash my hands. The last step before this goes into the oven is to add some extra virgin olive oil, and I will just drizzle it kind of over the top of the chicken. And you want to use, I don't know, maybe 3 tablespoons. I've got a 1/4 cup here. I kind of eyeball this part, quite honestly. You just want to kind of nicely coat everything and kind of get some of that flavor in there. At least coat the chicken, not everything. And right, I think that looks good. Here is what this all looks like in our pan right now. You can see all of our herbs and spices and our oranges are tucked down in there. Our chicken is nicely flavored and it's nicely coated with a little layer of olive oil too. This is all set to go into the oven now, and it's gonna go in on that second from the top rack for 40 minutes uncovered. So the roasted herb and orange chicken is made with a beurre blanc sauce that I will show you how to make once the chicken is done, because we use the drippings from the pan for that sauce. But I also like to serve it with some garlic roasted potatoes. So I've got some fingerling potatoes here, And I'm going to just add them to this baking sheet. And then I have grated garlic and olive oil here in this little cup, and I'm going to put that on the potatoes. So I infused the olive oil with the garlic. I grated it, I put it in here, and then while I was getting everything else ready, I just let it sit there so it could infuse just a little bit while I prepped everything else. And if you're gonna make these, just do that first so that your garlic and olive oil can really kind of meld together and you get a more garlicky flavor in your potatoes without having a lot of kind of like the garlic clumps on the potatoes. Then just take the garlic and olive oil and kind of spread it around your potatoes. I like to start these by putting them face down on the baking sheet. And sometimes I usually eyeball the garlic, although it is about 2 to 3 tablespoons. If you feel like you have too much, you can take a paper towel and wipe some of the olive oil off of it. If you have too much, your potatoes won't always roast up properly. They'll be kind of just a little, they won't be as crispy as you want them to be. Okay, now that I have all of these on here face down, I'm going to add some pepper and salt. The salt and pepper will really be about your taste profile, so you can do it as much or as little as you like. I will sprinkle these again once I flip them over halfway through the cooking process. So these are going to go in the oven at 425 for 15 minutes, and then we're going to take them out, flip them over, and they're going to go back in for another 15. In the meantime, I'm going to pick up and then I'm going to ready the ingredients for the end of the recipe and the beurre blanc sauce. One of the first steps for the beurre blanc sauce is going to be making a beurre manière. So that is a combination of butter and flour that has been mixed together. This gets added to your sauce to thicken it, so you're not using something like cornstarch. So all you do is I have some softened butter in here and I have flour, and you mash it together essentially. It is honestly easier to do it with your fingers, so if you're good with that, just use your fingers. And you really just want it to get nice and pulled together. So something like this is perfect. You don't need to use any of the extra flour in there, just the flour and the butter that kind of clump together for you. I am going to make the beurre blanc sauce back on the stove over the flame because it's easier for me to work with, but I will show you guys each step of the way how to do it. All right, it's time to flip the potatoes, so let's grab them and do that. It can be easier to get under them with a spatula first and then flip them so that they don't end up sticking to the pan. So a little more pepper and a little more salt. They smell incredible already. You can smell that garlic roasting. It smells so good. And back in they go for another 15 minutes. So the beurre blanc sauce is going to make a nice kind of pool on the bottom of your dish. I like to serve this in kind of a bowl, a wide bowl, so that you have enough room for everything to just have a little space. The potatoes go in here too. And then I also like to serve it with some spinach. You can go with green beans, you can go with broccoli, whatever you prefer. So I'm going to add some fresh baby spinach in here now. And this can really be however much you like. I don't know. I like a lot of greens in my food, so I don't know. That's how much I think we'll go with for right now. Probably a very loosely packed cup or a packed half a cup. And then the beurre blanc is going to go over that. The potatoes will go in. The chicken will go in on top of that. And then last but not least, I think I'm going to cut up some parsley. The chicken is done. It smells incredible. It looks beautiful. The skin is golden. Gosh, it smells so lovely. I can't wait to eat it. You can see your pan will not look the most lovely. So if you are on the website and you're like, hey, why aren't there any pictures of what this looks like in the pan? It's because the pan does not look lovely after cooking, but your chicken is going to look stunning. Okay, so we're going to remove the chicken from the pan and put it on a plate and put it to the side. Now you can lightly cover this with foil, not only just to help the chicken stay warm, but also to bring it up a few more degrees if you pull it out just a few degrees before done. I don't like to be too crazy about it because sometimes when you cover it really tightly, it locks all that steam in there and then your skin is not as crispy. So I will usually just very, very lightly kind of tent it. Now let's make this beurre blanc sauce. This is going in the back where I have the pan set up. I'm going to dump the drippings in there and then we're going to get working on that. So this is what the drippings look like when they first go into the pan. And now I'm going to add the other ingredients. So the first thing I'm going to add is more butter. Then I'm going to add in some chicken stock. And then finally, I'm going to add in some white wine, and that'll be it for now until we add the beurre meunier. But first, you want your butter to fully melt, so we're just going to whisk that over just about a low to medium heat. Once your butter is fully melted, you want to add the beurre meunier into the pot. And then you just want to slowly whisk it in until it melts completely into the sauce as well. It will thicken it as it melts thanks to the flour in the beurre meunier. Once the beurre meunier completely melts, the sauce will still be thin, but it will be thicker than a broth. So it turns out to be like a thin kind of gravy, and you'll notice the texture change. Once it melts completely, you want to add in your orange slices, and then we are going to let this simmer over the lowest flame for about 5 minutes. The potatoes are done too. They look amazing. They smell amazing. I'm going to top them off with a little more salt, and then they will go in our bowl once the beurre blanc sauce has been added. Once your beurre blanc has been simmering for 5 minutes, your sauce should be cloudy like this, and that means it's perfect. So as long as you're close to your time, you can take it off. Okay, let's prep our dish. So I'm just going to take some of my beurre blanc, which is perfect. It's a little cloudy. That is what you want. Now let's add in our chicken and potatoes and finish this off. We're going to top it with a little of that parsley. And then I always like a little fresh thyme too. And if people want a little more orange flavor, you can add a slice of orange. Look at that, isn't it stunning? If you want, you can serve this with some of the beurre blanc over the top. It does make the chicken skin a little less crispy. So if you don't want to do that, if you want your crispy chicken skin, then you can just eat it as is and kind of dunk the chicken as you go. Before we taste, here is what it sounds like with the crispy skin. All right, let's dig in and taste this. Chicken comes away from there so nicely. It's just perfectly cooked. Look at that, gorgeous. Get a little bit of it in that sauce. So good. This is easily one of my favorite winter meals. It's just so simple to make. It comes out beautiful every single time you do it. Because you're working with a bone-in, skin-on dark meat chicken, it just retains all that moisture, it retains all that flavor, and then anything you add to it is just more flavor on top of that. So amazing. Let's try potato. Cooked to perfection. Oh my gosh, they taste so good with the orange. It's always so surprising to me for some reason. And I know if maybe you're not a big like citrus person, I will tell you the orange does not overpower anything. It is just kind of like a nice light flavor in the background. It is not overwhelming in any way. It's just so good. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you love the roasted urban orange chicken thighs. I love this recipe so much, and if you make it for your family, I hope you find it as incredible as I do. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Also, I will leave a link to the full instructions at sugarmaplefarmhouse.com in the description below. And if you have not followed along yet, I hope that you will come on over and subscribe. I cook, I garden, I DIY, I do a little bit of everything. I love to stay busy. So if you love to stay busy too, I hope you will join me here. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.